Welcome to this explainer. Okay, so today we're doing something really fascinating. We're taking a super short, seemingly simple cartoon script, The Honest Woodcutter, and literally putting it under the microscope. Because, on the surface, it's just a quick little moral tale. But if we deconstruct it, we're going to see exactly how it uses strategic dialogue and classic narrative tropes to deliver a perfectly clear, incredibly memorable message. We'll uncover how every single line of dialogue has a very specific purpose in guiding our attention. Okay, let's dive right into this. Hamza, let me tell you a short story about an honest woodcutter. With just this one single sentence from our character Ali, the script instantly establishes a meta-narrative frame. Basically, we aren't just watching a story about a woodcutter. We're actually watching a story being told to a listener named Hamza. It immediately invites us to sit down, get comfortable, and just listen right alongside him.
Part 1. Setting the scene, the storyteller and the audience. So look at this brilliant dynamic between these two characters. We have Ali on one side, and he's driving the narrative forward. And on the other side, Hamza is listening, asking questions, and reacting. The script is actually using Hamza as an audience surrogate. His interjections, asking what did he do, or screaming, oh no, they aren't just filler. No, they are specifically engineered to prompt Ali, keep the pacing really energetic, and actively guide our own emotional reactions. When Hamza gets worried, we're instantly cued to be worried right there with him.
Now, the crucial point here is how this really brief, inciting incident just sets the whole plot into motion. Ali says, once, a poor woodcutter lived near a river. One day, while cutting wood, his axe accidentally fell into the river. Literally, in just 2 sentences, the stakes are completely established. The woodcutter is poor, which means losing his tool is a massive blow to his livelihood. Dropping your only axe into a river, that makes for a pretty terrible day at work. This establishes a deep sense of sadness and urgency, and that immediately triggers the magical element of the story, the arrival of the fairy who asks why he's so upset.
Part 2. The Ultimate Honesty Test. The Escalation of Temptation.
And this brilliantly illustrates one of the absolutely most foundational techniques in all of storytelling, the rule of 3. First, the fairy presents a golden axe, then silver, and finally, the old iron axe. And honestly, you kind of have to wonder why a fairy is hoarding so many axes at the bottom of a river, but anyway, I digress. This 3-step escalation is used to build tension and pace the narrative perfectly. It gives us time to anticipate the woodcutter's reaction, and it proves that his honesty isn't just some one-time fluke, but it's actually a deeply ingrained character trait. Notice the stark contrast right at the heart of this test. On one hand, you've got the immense material value of gold and silver, but on the other hand, you have the woodcutter's steadfast no and no. This perfectly maps out his absolute refusal to claim what isn't his, despite the overwhelming temptation dangling right in front of him. It's only when the old iron axe is presented that we finally get that enthusiastic yes. This simple contrast acts as the entire engine for this moral test. Right after that silver axe is rejected, we get this interjection from Hamza. Wow. He was really honest. Guys, this is an absolute masterclass in audience guidance. Hamza's reaction serves to vocalize the exact realization the script wants us to have right before the climax. By having Hamza say it out loud, the story basically ensures that even the youngest or, most distracted viewer fully understands the sheer magnitude of the woodcutter's integrity before the final reward is even revealed. Part 3. The reward and moral. The payoff. The number 3. This represents the ultimate payoff. Because the fairy was so incredibly pleased with the woodcutter's truthfulness, his repeated refusal to take the gold and the silver. She doesn't just give him back his iron axe. She gives him all 3 axes. It's a massive, tangible reward for his integrity. The narrative is basically showing us that true honesty doesn't just return what you lost, it actually yields a far greater bounty than deceit ever could. Which brings us to the ultimate takeaway. Honesty is the best policy. This is the final moral lesson delivered by Ali. When we look back at the entire explainer, we can see how the meta-narrative between Ali and Hamza was structurally designed from the very first word to perfectly land this single powerful lesson. The dialogue, the rule of 3, the audience surrogate, the whole shebang was just a finely tuned delivery mechanism to make this specific moral resonate deeply and clearly with us. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a provocative question. The woodcutter passed his test, but if the fairy appeared today, would you refuse the golden axe? It's so easy to cheer for him in a story, right? But placing ourselves in his shoes makes the Fable's lesson deeply personal. It forces us to ask what we truly value when no one else is looking.
Thank you so much for joining me to deconstruct this fascinating script. Keep asking questions, and I'll see you in the next one.